left, and nothing seemed to happen. No longer hide what is happening in the lower sector of the bunker from the authorities of the Ministry of State Security, especially after yesterday's suicide of the laboratory head. Officer Carr shot himself with his service pistol. His dead body is currently in the autopsy room. This morning, several junior officers attempted to flee from the facility. Junior Lieutenant L. Seratone was shot dead since he was in a state of acute psychosis, similar to a fit of rabies, and pose a serious threat to the laboratory staff. All unauthorized exit attempts have been thwarted, and the offenders have been detained in individual cells. Facility-wide order. All staff members should immediately cancel all leaves of absence and be on high alert. 3 guards must be posted at the main electrical distributor, and another 2 should protect the backup generator. Patrols around the facility perimeter should be reinforced. Lights should remain turned on in all of the facility's areas and in the corridors connecting them. If a bulb needs to be replaced, a person on duty should be informed immediately. Every staff member must always be in plain view of at least one other person. In case of any abnormal situation, the alarm must be activated. Senior officers are alerted without delay, and staff summoned to the scene. A report on the extraordinary event must be submitted within half an hour of the event. I don't really know what constitutes extraordinary at this point. Things are pretty weird. Also, my pick disintegrated when I dug through that wall. They just don't make them like they used to. I thought that was a ladder, but I guess it was just something that ran along the ceiling here. I do not know what I'm supposed to do in the Mercury room, though. Just a second. Interesting. Okay, kind of top left, bottom right, and then straight up and down. Okay. That wasn't backwards at all. Had to look that up. Okay, here's an eyeball. Whoa. Wait a minute. Am I seeing this from the perspective of the eyeball? Ah, it's one of those noise-canceling rooms. Washer? Subway token. Turn off red. Would die. Dogs tore to death. Threat.
These games are dangerous. Very dangerous. A thought interpreted incorrectly results in death. I can answer your last question as follows. Yes, you can get used to pain. But can you get used to fear? Unlikely. The power of fear is in that it doesn't exist in reality. In this sense, fear is like God. Neither exists. But it's impossible not to believe in both.
Gregory Nikolovich, born in 1906 in Omsk, male, secondary education, Russian-Hungarian, atheist, divorced, no relatives abroad. Oh, Magyar. I think this is the person that they were putting under special watch. Yeah, 598. We can read about him. Born in 1906 in a family with many children, his father was a Russian fur trader and his mother was a fur seamstress, a Magyar by origin. The father went missing. The circumstances of her disappearance are unclear. In 1910, the mother died of lung inflammation in 1913. The prisoner had two older brothers and a sister who were placed in the Omsk orphanage. The prisoner was transferred from the detention room into the city's industrial Trust Children's Hospital because of acute pneumonia. He experienced psychological trauma in the children's hospital when he had to spend the night in the hospital morgue due to an error made by the medical staff. He was delivered there in an unconscious state. The prisoner maintained contact with his brothers and sister until 1916 and according to the orphanage workers, had special feelings for his sister. He took the greatest care of her. In 1916, the oldest brother was killed when he happened to witness a pharmacy robbery. The younger brother was convicted of armed robbery, sent to maximum juvenile penal colony. Ugh, penal colony? For kids? That's harsh. And after being transferred in 1919, was shot down by armed guards when he attempted to escape. In 1921, the prisoner graduated from boarding school number 2 and got a job in the Siberian manufactory as an assistant leather tailor. In 1923, he started to attend the Rabfak courses, and after finishing them, was favorably accepted as a first-year student in Omsk Agrarian Institute. In 1925, he quit his studies to work and left for Leningrad, where, beginning in 1927, he worked as a criminalist in the militia's criminal investigation department. The prisoner showed talent in solving crimes, and as early as 1933. After solving a series of particularly brutal murders, he quit his job and suddenly left the country. In 1939, he turned up unexpectedly at the Soviet-Polish border, where he was detained by a frontier patrol and sent to military prosecution office in Brest. Yes, Brest. Somehow he managed to influence the officer office head and was released after signing written commitment not to leave the country again. It is unknown what the prisoner did in the period between 1933 and 1939, as he refused to testify concerning this information. From Brest, again he set off to Leningrad, where he became a kindergarten caretaker. In 1942, he was drafted and fought in an infantry battalion on the Don Front. He was thought for a long time to be missing in action, but, as was later ascertained, in 1943 he had deserted under strange circumstances, managing to avoid military patrols. In 1947, the prisoner was recognized near the Moscow rail terminal in the city of Leningrad, and put on the wanted list, but the search for him was unsuccessful. In 1951, he was again recognized after an incident near the Drama Theater. As eyewitnesses testified later, he killed 2 muggers who had wanted to harm his wife by common law. But he killed them without making any physical contact with them. According to the district militia officer's records, the prisoner was discovered in his wife's flat, but he managed to escape his pursuers, exhibiting some unexplainable abilities. When they attempted to detain him near his home, he paralyzed 2 officers. One of them is still at the hospital. He forced the third to take the clip out of his pistol and throw it into the bushes. Officers of the Ministry of State Security succeeded in detaining him only after his partner had been arrested. In exchange for her release, he voluntarily surrendered himself to justice. Control over him was immediately tightened, and after a month he was transferred to the Bunker 4 dedicated facility. Personal qualities. The prisoner has advanced intellectual abilities and is sullen and reticent. It's extremely hard to disturb his equanimity. Enduring, hardly susceptible to physical pain, broad-minded and strong-willed, he treats our officers coldly, but has agreed to cooperate. He was checked for abilities to produce biowave impact, and the results were positive in 18 points out of 20. He identified as a Category A. It falls within the special rules. And he was executed in 1953. Can't look at the other folders. They are probably all about that dude. I can't walk around in here? Well, I got a subway token. I don't know what I do with this. Also, I can't see if the eye is still here. Or how the eye got in. That thing looks down flat to the ground. Shouldn't it be dead silent in here because we're in a noise cancelling room? Don't know how those spikes managed to do it, but they do it.
To get to the surface through the subway tunnel.
Yeah, I looked that up because I wasn't sure what to do. It's like, oh hey, gigantic hole opened up in the subway. In the bathroom that mysteriously connects to the subway. I think my guy's just gone insane. Myself.
I ran down the subway tunnel until I saw a station. Without attracting anyone's attention, I managed to get out to the surface, where the bright sunlight half blinded me. There was pandemonium in the square, people shouting, cars honking, voices resounding from loudspeakers. Mourning ribbons and portraits of the leader were everywhere. Then I realized Stalin had died. Squeezing my way through the crowd, I barely managed to get home. I came to work the next day. Everything there was just as it was before. and my life gradually returned to the way things were. I worked until I was promoted to chief engineer, and later, in the late 60s, I became the department head. I had a son and a daughter. I lived an interesting and happy life. My children were growing up before my eyes. I saw the first man go to space, and I rejoiced together with all the Soviet people. And in 1986, when Cuba became part of the USSR, my grandson was born, and I became a grandfather. And now I recall the words my grandfather once said to me: live your life so that later, people will remember you with a kind word.
Okie dokie. That was a little disjointed, but it was interesting. Short credits. Not really a long game, though. Not sure what to think of that one. It was weird, I think. Yeah, I would say it was definitely weird. Some of the puzzles were a little off, but not as bad as some adventure games. The plot didn't seem to make much sense. I would say that it didn't make a lot of sense. I know there was a lot of weird research going on in that time frame. The US was doing stuff like that too. Which is weird, but nobody wanted to be left behind in case that particular arms race paid off. So there you go. But the ending felt extremely disjointed, like for some reason the bathroom wall collapsed in subway tunnel. And the subway token, for some reason. Whatever. Just completely ignoring the fact that you're probably splattered in mercury and sarin gas and whatever else. You lived a happy and productive life despite your traumatic experiences. And no mention is made of whatever the heck was haunting you in that place ever again. Whatever. Feels like they kind of ran out of money and just wanted to end it. But I guess that happens sometimes. Overall, I'd say it was pretty fun, but as I stated many a time, I'm not good at adventure games. Not my preferred genre. But I enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys next time. You all take care, and bye-bye for now.